Okay, so if you watch the video on software products versus hardware products, and you think that this may look eerily similar in terms of clothes I'm wearing and setup, this is because I'm recording it like a minute after I just finished that one. There's just so many thoughts running through my head, so many things that I wanted to talk about. I thought now would be a great time to just do this video as well. So, to give context to what I'm about to talk about, a lot of people in college, depending on what track you're in, if you're doing like software engineering or some business track, finance, accounting, anything like that, I think most majors you will do something like this. I can't think of anywhere you wouldn't. In the summer, it's internship time, right? It's time to find a company who will bring you on so you can practice new skills, learn new things, potentially receive full-time offers, anything like that with these companies. And one thing that comes with this is ambiguity. This is not something that college students or students in general traditionally do very well with, and there's a reason for this. And I'll kind of give more explanation as to what I mean by ambiguity first before I jump into the background. So by ambiguity, all I mean is in a school setting, traditionally, you have very clear objectives. We need you to do X, and they've taught you steps A, B, C in order to achieve X, right? So for example, my major, information systems, they'll say, okay, we want you to build this web app. You need to be able to create, read, update, and delete this kind of data from this web app, and it has to have functionality X, Y, Z. Over the course of the semester, we've already spent time learning how to implement that in a variety of different languages. And so when it comes time to do an assignment, we say, okay, that's fine. I know how to do X, Y, Z. Let's complete this task, right? And so the objective is very clear. However, in my experience, this is not very representative of what the real world is like. Real world problems, whether it be in business, in family, in anything like that, they're not always as cut and dry as we make them appear in academia. And this is something that I felt I never really understood, or was never even something that came to my mind until the second half of my college experience. So for example, I started an internship, and we hadn't really narrowed down, I guess not we, but the people who had been in charge of the product that I was going to be working on hadn't really dug super deep into what the problem domain was. We didn't really know who our customers were. We didn't really know who would use this. We didn't know how they would use it, what kind of functionality they would need, what other systems this would need to integrate with, how it sits in terms of other products that the company was working on. And the first week, it was definitely very frustrating because I was not expecting that. I was expecting to come in and be given a sheet of paper that says, this is what you need to build, these are the people you need to talk to, these are your key stakeholders, all that sort of thing. And I felt like I definitely did not get that. And it was definitely frustrating and stressful at the very beginning because unlike what I had been coached or how I had been trained in academia or in my school experience, was that I would be given, a very clear objective, and I needed to achieve that objective. And this felt so much more ambiguous than that. I really didn't understand what exactly it was that I needed to achieve. And so what I want to talk about today in this video is what do you do when you encounter one of those situations? Because I know that this will not be the first time, this was not the first time that I encountered a situation like this, and I know for sure it will definitely not be the last time. As much as I wish that it wouldn't happen again, I know that it will continue to happen, not only for me, but for everyone watching this. These ambiguous situations where we need to figure out what to do, there's no clear objective, those will come up again and again throughout the course of our lives. I think the two biggest principles that I learned, and it's more one principle that can be broken down into two phases as to what to do in these situations, I want to explain them right here. So the first one is hypothesize, and the second is ask questions. And I put them in this order because this is just the order that I've been doing it, and I feel like this order made sense to me. So what do I mean by this? And I will use my experience in this other internship as an example. So I jump in, we don't really know what we want to do, who the customer is, what the functionality should be, anything like that. And so we need to figure it out. And so what I do is I take that first step, I hypothesize. I say I have this data, A, B, C, D. I can kind of put this together and synthesize some sort of hypothesis as to who are our customers, what are we trying to achieve, A, B, C, D, E, whatever, right? And so what I'll do is I'll take that information, I kind of bundle it all together, try and understand it, wrap my head around it, and then I'm gonna come up with some hypotheses and say like, oh, this is who I think our customer to be, blah, 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 blah. And so from here, what I do is I then go back to people who know more than I do, right? So this, in this case, was my manager. It's other people who have worked at the company for longer than I have, and I say, hey, this is how I'm understanding this project right now. I'll lay out for them what I've heard so far, what I've learned so far. This is my thought process going forward. What do you think about that? Can I get your feedback? Do you have any input? Am I headed in the right direction, right? And so this is the second phase, which is asking questions. And so all I do when I'm in, an ambiguous situation such like this is I'm just getting as much information as I can, creating a hypothesis based on that information, going out and asking questions, and I'm just repeating that, right? When I ask questions, I'm getting new information, which I then throw into my bin of all the information I've collected, and then I need to move forward, make another hypothesis, keep going, until eventually I've sort of covered everything that I need to do, and I understand, okay, this is all the information I've collected, and it's led me to these conclusions. And this just kind of helps you get out of that ambiguity stage where I don't even know what I'm doing, what we're working on. This helps you establish sort of a foundation so you can use that as a jumping off point as you go forward in, whatever project or whatever action, whatever task you have to pursue. And I don't really have a lot to add on top of that. This will probably be a pretty short video, just based off of my experience. I would love to know what other people do in ambiguous situations to kind of break yourself out of that cloud of fuzziness. You don't really know what you're doing. I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching.